Where were you born and where do you reside today?
I was born born in Kansas City, Missouri. However, I was raised in Kansas City, Kansas. This is just a river that divides the two cities. I currently reside in Brooklyn in a neighborhood called Brownsville.
When you were 12 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Well, when I was 12 years old, I had dreams of being a concert pianist, a world traveler. At one point, I actually wanted to be a psychiatrist as well to figure out what I thought was wrong with me, because I thought at an early age that something was wrong with me. So if I were a psychiatrist, I'd be able to figure that out.
Where were you when you first discovered that you had the capacity to love in a romantic way someone of the same gender?
When did I realize that I was able to love someone of the same gender? I don't remember actually a time that I never did. I didn't necessarily, but you wanted to know when I felt comfortable. I guess it wasn't until I was 11, I guess, 11, because I fell in love with my junior assistant scoutmaster, who sort of took me under his wing and sort of mentored me and let me know that I was okay. So from that, I realized that I was able to love someone of the same gender.
And where was this?
This was at, I found this out at a Boy Scout camp outside of Kansas City, Kansas. Camp Shaw, I think it was called. I don't really remember the name of it, but I do remember not wanting to go because the other Boy Scouts were always teasing me about being faggot and sissiness, that and the other. But this one, the junior assistant scoutmaster, was aware of that, so he took me under his wing. And so it's like, even though they were taunting me, it didn't matter because he had my back, and that made me feel good. That made me feel good. He's the only male at that point who actually validated me. So it was very easy to love him.
Think about yourself at present. What gives your life meaning and what makes life worth living for?
The thing that gives my life meaning at this present time is that I know exactly why I'm here. I'm here to be a voice to the voiceless. I'm here to advocate on behalf of those who are suffering from HIV and AIDS and other discrimination. I'm here to speak up for people who, for whatever reason, can't or won't. I have the calling to do that, and I have the equipment to do that, so I know why I'm here. So when I get up in the morning, I know exactly why I'm here, and I've gotten to the point where I can say to the Lord, order my steps, and I say yes, and I find out that everywhere I go is where I'm supposed to be.
What if you met Jesus in person? What would you ask or say to him?
Wow. If I met Jesus in person, I would start just jumping and shouting and just having a Holy Ghost fit. I mean, if I saw Jesus in person, wow. But you know what? We do. I mean, I see Jesus every day. I see Jesus every day. If I see through the Lord's eyes, I'm able to see Jesus every day. So when I see Jesus every day, I smile, I say hello, I say good morning, how are you? I offer a hand. I treat him as he has treated me, with love and mercy and respect. So, wow, that's a wonderful, wonderful question.
Are there persons who, at early times in your life or in the present, that have been significant in shaping your outlook on life?
Well, there's one person in particular in my life that was very instrumental in shaping my life, and that was my mother. My mother was not only my mother, but she was my best friend. Through her, I learned what unconditional love was. That was because that was her. She was unconditional love. When I said to her and my sister that I was gay, the first thing she said to me was that, well, that she already knew. But also she said that it doesn't matter what I am, that I'm still her son and nothing would change that. But the only reason I actually told him was because I was active in the Gay Liberation Front at the University of Kansas, and I was beginning to be publicized. So I wanted her to hear it from me and not from neighbors and not from anyone else. So I was able to share that with them. But she is my rock because, like I said, I learned from her what God's unconditional love is in person. So I was blessed to live with that.
What are the taboos in your early life, and how have you lived with or out of these taboos?
One of the major taboos of my early life was depression. I didn't realize that I was suffering from depression because I was under the misconception that, or three myths. First of all, men don't get depressed. Second of all, black people don't get depressed. And third, Christians sure don't get depressed, because if a Christian is depressed, that means he's not living right, he's not praying right, or that something is wrong. So it took me 50 years to realize that I was actually suffering from something called depression. And I'm okay with that now, because it's just like the HIV, which I live with. It lives with me. I don't live with it. It lives with me. It'll be something that I have the rest of my life, but it's also shaped me and made me the man that I am. So things that I regret or ashamed of, I guess that was it primarily. In the fact that for the longest time, I did not love myself. I was able to love others, but I never thought that I was lovable. I always thought when someone said they loved me, I thought I had to do something to reinforce that. And I learned from hearing the words of Louise Hay. I was in something called Arrive, which was a substance abuse and HIV harm reduction program. And one of the meditation sessions said, "You are lovable." That was an epiphany for me. That was an epiphany for me, that I was lovable just as I am. And that was such a relief, such relief. It was a rebirth. So that's what I regretted. But then it's no regret. I mean, it's all part of God's plan for my life.
Can you indicate how the taboos in your life have changed, and what are the taboos now?
The taboos in my life right now, I don't entertain any taboos. I mean, I'm open. I'm open to whatever. I've never not wanted to experiment with anything. There's never been anything that's out of bounds. I mean, short of murdering someone or something like that. But in terms of sexual things, anything, I was an explorer. I was an explorer. And the taboos I have now, I mean, I don't entertain taboos. Those are shackles. As much as I can, I don't allow myself to have taboos. It's just,
what are the taboos in the community now?
Oh, well, the taboos in the community now, I guess, are sleeping around, drugs, same gender loving, in some areas of the community.
What relationships or groups are most important as support for your values and beliefs?
The most important groups that are part of my support and values are Unity Fellowship of Christ Church, which is my home church, the LGBT Faith Leaders of African Descent, ACT UP, Occupy Wall Street, Queerocracy, Stop Mass Incarceration Network. These are all the networks that, well, of course, my spiritual network is the foundation. And my sister loves me, and her 5 children. I was able to actually grow up with them. I had spent much of my time in Europe while they were born, but I wanted to come back so that I could be a part of their lives as they grew up. They're now all grown, and they all know me as Uncle Reginald, and they love me as I am. So that's my support. And I do have good support. All of my family, my church family, my physical family, they stand by me. So I'm blessed in that.
How has faith impacted you and your journey thus far?
Wow, my faith has impacted my journey by making me realize how God has ordered everything that I've done, that she has had a plan for me from before the beginning of the foundation of earth, and that I'm here fulfilling that plan, that it's all okay, that everywhere I go is where I'm supposed to be, and that the fact that people are attracted to me is something that only I have, and I have to be responsible for that, because God puts people in my life for a specific reason. I have to be very cognizant of that fact. For a long time, I was wondering, why do people follow me? Why are they? Thought of it as, why are they doing that? But I realized, no. That's God drawing people to himself through me.
How has your faith or life objective progressed from your youth till now?
Well, my life idea has projected differently now, because when I was diagnosed with HIV in 1986, it was a double blessing. First of all, I didn't have to worry about getting it anymore. And the second was, it gave me focus. This is important and that's not. And it became non-negotiable. If there's something that was beneficial to me, I would pursue it. If it wasn't, and if that, this calls for people, places, and things as well. So if they weren't for me, it was very easy to cut that off. So that focused me in a way that I'd always been focused as a child. Anything that I wanted to do, in fact, everything that I've wanted to do, I've accomplished by God's grace. There's nothing that I haven't done that I wanted to do that I haven't done. But in the midst of that, I would compromise in things trying to please other people, But the HIV gave me focus, and you know what? I don't have to do that.
What about your faith? How has your faith progressed from your youth?
My faith now has now grown stronger. As a child, I went to church. I've always been close to the Lord. There's never been a time that I wasn't. I walked away from the church because I didn't like the way that I was treated. I didn't like the way that I was accepted, and I wasn't seeing what the Bible was saying, shouting to the Lord, dancing to the Lord. I was hearing things, but not seeing it. But my faith has always been there. And as I've gotten older, I guess that seed that was planted, it only grows and grows and grows. It gets stronger and stronger.